What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the scorecard. I am your host Cedric Benn, the boxing scorecard. Um, a few low level fights last night, but the main event that everyone was looking forward to was to seeing how Savannah Marshall looked against Femke Hermans from Belgium, a former champion. 2008, she held WBO and challenged for some of the other major titles. Very good competitor. Former also a common opponent of Claressa Shileds, who they both fought 4 years ago. I believe the fight went the distance. That was a common opponent, but she's a tough competitor. Of course, this is the scorecard. There was no need to score the main event last night. Savannah Marshall dominated, and dominated. It's kind of different. She kind of reminds me of a Tyson Fury, actually, in her fighting style, the way she's tall and uses her reach in a different kind of way. She actually kind of fights exactly like Tyson Fury, even the way she switches back and forth from orthodox to southpaw. She's very comfortable with her hands down, of course. But the question is, are you going to be able to keep that up against a higher level competition? Uh, Again, the way she's destroying her opponents now, she's definitely one of the hardest punchers in female boxing. Um, and again, it's impressive because she does it with her hands down. Uh, I just don't think. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I don't think. It's going to be very interesting to see her versus Claressa Shields this summer. Um, Again, Savannah, she takes her time. She's never in a rush. She's never in a rush. She keeps her lead hand down, and even when she switches from southpaw to orthodox, uh, it's not like she'll do it just randomly. It's not like for a specific reason. Like, for example, with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is probably the best in boxing as far as switching from orthodox to southpaw. But when he does it, usually when Crawford goes to southpaw, he's looking for like to finish you off with more power punches, like to sit down, really sit down on his punches. Um, but so usually when I coach my boxers, like I tell them, if you're gonna switch for a reason. Don't just randomly switch just for something to do. Like if you see an opportunity that you can take advantage of by switching your stance, then do that. Um, but sometimes you see other fighters that just randomly switch because they think it'll throw their opponent off, and in some cases it does. So it's going to be very interesting. Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shields this summer. Do I think my prediction right now is that it's going to go the distance, and I'm going to go with Claressa Shields with the decision win. I think it's going to be a very good fight. I think both of them are going to try to stop each other. Like, that's why I said it's going to be very interesting to see if Savannah Marshall, fights with both hands down by her waist, um, against again, Claressa Shields not exactly known for knocking out all of her opponents. She went the distance with her last win with her last opponent, who a lot of people feel that she should have finished off. Um, but she still has pop in her punches. Clarissa does. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if Savannah's just gonna keep her hands down like that coming forward on Clarissa, or if she's gonna try to move backwards and use more of her footwork backing up. But she's never done that yet because no opponent has made Savannah back up. Um, so we're not sure if she can fight going backwards, which you should be able to do. Not all the time, but just to switch it up, you should be able to fight going backwards. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, the scorecard, the prediction for that fight. I don't know. I don't know. I'm predicting majority decision for Clarissa Shields. I'm gonna say it right now. But I might change over the next coming weeks. I don't know if no, I don't think either of them are gonna have a fight before then. They both Clarissa just fought a couple of weeks ago, and Savannah just fought last night. So um, I haven't been this excited for a female clash in a long time. Of course, at the end of this month, we have Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. That is going to be a great one too. So Female boxing is definitely on the rise. Um, yeah. Going back to this fight though, power, power, and skill versus skill. Yeah, both of them have power and skill. I guess as I said before, Savannah has more knockouts on her record. But however, I still think Claressa has faced tougher competition. Claressa definitely has faced tougher competition in her lead up to for being all the belts that she has right now. Um, so yeah, that's why I give Claressa the slight edge. Um, I give her the slight edge. Now, the big marketing thing that they're pushing is that the reason why, not the reason why, well, actually, no, I should say the reason why they keep pushing Savannah versus Claressa from a while ago is because in the amateur level, Savannah did beat Claressa, and this is like the you've been hearing this her whole career. Anytime that, and it's more so that the media that's doing this, but like anytime that Savannah's mentioned, like she's mentioned with Claressa, that's how she's kind of made her name, made a name for herself. Anytime that you mention, like I just looked up, you type in Savannah Marshall highlights her boxing, like out of the first 10 things on YouTube, like 5 of them are going to be associated with Claressa Shileds. And it's not the other way around. Like if you do Claressa Shileds boxing or highlights, the first 10, maybe one of them will be like their interview. But, because like I said, Claressa has faced some better competition. So that's why I give her a slight edge. So Savannah, they keep saying that, keep pushing this thing that, Savannah beat her in the amateurs, but there's a lot of high level boxers that lost to somebody in the amateurs, and it's not the same. Like just off the top of my head, Danny Garcia beat Terrence Crawford. I'm pretty sure they said in at the amateur level. Um, you know, Earl Spence lost to a few local guys. So look at them. Speaking of Crawford and Danny Garcia, they said that might be the first fight for this summer if Crawford signs with PBC. Anyways, Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shileds. They don't have a date for it yet, but it will be this summer. Yeah, exactly. It has been. What up, Mike? It has been a long time since she's been an amateur. But that's what they keep going off of, that she beat her at the amateur level. But whenever they bring it up, Claressa brings up the fact like, well, what else did you do as an amateur? You don't have any medals. Like what happened to all that? So it's very, very interesting back and forth of wars between the both of them, and definitely looking forward to this fight this summer. All right, and there you have it. No need for the scorecard this week. It was a clear victory for Savannah. We were just breaking it down. How she dominated her opponent this time. Make sure you come back in. Claressa, what up, Mike? Claressa is the first boxer ever to win back-to-back gold medals. Yeah. Probably in the female ranks. I'm sure there's a couple of Cubans that did it back-to-back. And Lomachenko did it back-to-back too. Male or female? But are you sure? Didn't Lomachenko or a couple of the Cubans do it back-to-back too? Probably in the females for sure, though. So yeah. And there you have it. Make sure you pay attention this afternoon for the knockout of the week. Of course, has to be Savannah Marshall. Me and Mike will break that down, so make sure you pay attention. We got somebody in the chat here. They're just selling the fight over here. That's how they promote over here. They find something, and if it sticks, they push it. Yeah, I guess, as a promoter, whatever makes money makes sense. So this is these two girls are selling themselves the way that Claressa has all the belts. Savannah has the whole country behind her. So this is gonna be big. I wonder where the fight's gonna be though. Of course, if it's in the UK, they'll sell out. They'll sell out that what do you call it, that Wembley Stadium. They'll sell that out. However, Claressa is would be considered the A side. She's the one that has all the belts, so she would have control on where the fight's gonna be, right? So, but again, it might be more money. It all depends where this is gonna be the biggest fight. At the end of this, I don't know which is gonna be bigger as far as financially, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, or Savannah Marshall versus Claressa Shileds. Two of the biggest fights in women's boxing history, both happening within a couple of months of each other. So yeah, man, this is great. This is great. All right. I'll see you back at 4 o'clock for the knockout of the week with my boy Mike. All right. And I'll see you guys next week. Next week, what we got? We got Triple G and Murata, and a couple other fights too. But make sure you like, share, subscribe. Make sure you go to talkinfight.com. Get in as a member. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Peace.